welcome back to my channel. I've got with me this amazing book, Legends in Lattes by Travis Baldree, and I just finished reading it and I had to come and talk about this. I mean, this book, you guys, it was brilliant, and I'm gonna rave about this book in this video, give you all some pointers and ideas about why I like this book, and then maybe you could consider whether you want to pick it up or not, or it's a pass for you. You can let me know in the comments below. So first of all, this is a cozy fantasy book. Now, to be honest, I didn't even know there was a genre or subgenre of fantasy called cozy fantasy. But when I found out there was, and I read this book, I realized I do want to read a lot more cozy fantasies. And it's really different from the usual fantasy. I mean, ideally, when you have a fantasy, you think, say, Dungeons or Dragons or some kind of adventure or, weird creatures, mythical elements, and I don't know, so many different things come to your mind when you think fantasy. Especially when you see high fantasy, you start like imagining Lord of the Rings level of, stuff. And I went into this thinking that I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not, because high fantasy is not necessarily my favorite. I'm really picky about my high fantasy. I mean, I love Lord of the Rings, but I haven't really found another series or book that I have really felt invested in as much as that. So I was kind of unsure when I went into this book, but boy, did I fall in love so much. So basically, the plot of this book is about this mythical person called Viv. She is an orc, I think, and she's basically a barbarian, and she's gone sword fighting in like so many quests and adventures for over 20 years, and she finally decides to hang up her sword and come to a really sweet little place called Thun, and she wants to set up a coffee shop. And nobody in this fantasy world that this author has created even knows what coffee is. So apparently in one of her quests or adventures, she had chanced upon a similar cafe and she had her first coffee, and she was spellbound, and so she learned how to create that concoction, and she wanted to bring it to more people around her or creatures around her. And so she selected this place called Thun, where she wants to like retire and set up a base over there and open up a coffee shop, thereby exposing all of the different creatures in that area to coffee. And nobody's really heard of coffee, so it's like a whole new adventure for her in itself. Now, this whole book, I thought so many things were gonna happen. I'm gonna get lost inside this high fantasy world again. I probably may not be able to follow in some elements. Sometimes you have to really read a high fantasy book very slow so as to, savor every element of the book. But in this one, I found it really easy, and it's not the vocabulary or the word building or the world that the author had created or anything. It's just that it was so breezy, and I felt so invested in the characters. So we meet a lot of different characters with Viv along with her, and you end up loving even all of these side characters as well. And 3/4 of the book is about Viv actually trying to set up the coffee shop. So she first buys a place, and then she sets up all her ambience around the coffee shop, and then she slowly invests in like appliances and how the decor is gonna be like, and how she and her co-worker per se, they work around how they're going to bring in customers, how they're going to make them understand what coffee is. And then you have these beautiful posters wherein they write up the menu. So 3/4 of the book, you're basically just setting up the coffee shop with Viv, and somehow I didn't get bored. I mean, you would think that that's like a 5-minute part of a story. In any other book, that would have been like 5 minutes. But in this book, I wanted to be part of every step of her building that coffee shop for some reason, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. And it was so cozy. All of the all of the edible items that they prepare, or even coffee in itself, the way they experience it and savor it, and they're sitting in the coffee shop. Oh my gosh, you guys, it was beautifully written. I think that is like huge kudos to the author for bringing in something so simple yet very investive. So I love that about this book. There is a plot in the book as well, but the plot is, I think, for some reason, I think it's just there. It's not a huge part of the story, but it's a very sweet little part of the story. So as you read the story and you progress further, the plot kind of comes up, and then you just go along with the plot, and then the book like gets done. So I enjoyed that as well, but I don't think that plot was the main reason why I loved the book. So it's definitely not plot driven, it's a purely character driven book, and I still liked it. Sometimes, you don't like these character driven books because they're so character heavy, and then you get like, if you don't like the character at some point, you just lose interest in the book altogether, but that never happened in this book. So if you are looking for a book that is definitely set in the fantasy world, high fantasy, but you're just going to want to, maybe sip some coffee and then by the rain and just read a book, then I think this is a great book to read. It's just beautiful in those aspects. Nothing heavy, nothing that's gonna make you think, nothing that's very logical or anything of that sort. It's very easy, it's very nice, it's very calming, and it gives you like this feeling of warmth when you're done with the book. And that's, I think, how I will actually say about this book. It gives you a sense of warmth. There you go. So if you love this review and you want to watch more reviews, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in another video. Bye.